And he wants us to be able to serve in the kingdom, to grow in our testimonies. And to do that, he needs us to be able to provide for our temporal self-reliance.
Travis went good zone. Special news video early. I should be able to post it tonight. It's only 6 o'clock. Unless it's 6 hours long. Even 2 hours long. I have to wait until tomorrow. So let's get it going. Rather than all this comedy. Mormons hate me. They've made it very clear they're anti-Travis Wayne Goodsell. And it's because I believe the Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith are true. That they hate me. And the reason why Mormons hate me for knowing the Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith are true, is because I use a scientific method from the scriptures rather than the spiritual method. So with the spiritual method, Mormons are able to speculate above and beyond, and then end up in prison, thinking that they're the Messiah, or that they're going to help Jesus bring about Armageddon. The church is already doing that, well on its way. Finally. Jesus doesn't need your help. Right, Oaks? You'll just be reported to the Strengthening Church Members Committee for activation. Like I've been. And they must be slacking on the job with me. They must have realized that they can't keep up with all my videos. That's the only reason, because I have been on a daily roll this year. Last year, I realized, okay, here we go again. And yeah, there was some big stuff that I called in advance. Right, Nelson? Oh, you're dead? Right, Holland? Oh, you're dead too? But this year, dear God, I have just been on a tear. And the church has been stalking me for 10 years. Strengthening Church Members Committee. It's them that called my bishop in West Valley in January of 2018 and said, tell Travis to take down his video about how the Book of Mormon is so true that Adam fell that man might be. It's going against the living prophets of Jesus. Well, I don't have anything to do with YouTube. Just tell him to take it down. All right. Church headquarters told me to have you take down a video on Adam fell that man might be. You do know that's in the Book of Mormon, right? 2 Nephi chapter 2. Well, you're going against the living prophets of Jesus. Why do you bother coming to church? Good reason. Why am I bothering to come to church? I'm out. Nobody threatens or extorts me. And so they lost the member who had pretty much every single calling in the ward. I had up to 7 at one point in time. I had already lost other members for fear. Membership clerk for one. And so here I was, the big help to the ward, and they booted me out because church headquarters gave the bishop a call. So, yeah, Mormons are scared of me. When I do these I told you so videos, they run and hide. They're all angry and upset. They put a thumbs down, run away. Strengthening Church Members Committee can't keep up with all of the videos I've been doing. It's too much for them. And this year they're getting slammed. And I am surprised heads haven't rolled. And we hear in the underground Mormon grapevine that certain members who worked for the church have gone missing. Members of the 70 disappeared. Is it the rapture? Do Mormons believe in the rapture? I don't think so, but we're Christian. So we must believe in the rapture. Why would the church lie? Yeah, Mormons are scared that a real seer, prophet, revelator, translator is among them this whole time. And I'm not like Brian David Mitchell, Chad Daybell, or Benjamin Sickles. Yep, I got a comment. This has got to be an AI. He only has playlists, and it's all repeated playlists. And he's apparently pro-Mormon because he's got one on teachings with Hinckley as a short video. And there's 9 in that playlist. But according to his stats, he joined May 7th, 2025. So unless he's 18 and finally allowed to have a YouTube channel in the state of Utah as an adult, to be put on the blacklist for the church if he doesn't have the Hinckley video. And he's only got himself as a subscriber. And so I call AI on this another AI channel that YouTube has allowed to sneak by them. It's a fake channel. So anyway, the video he's commenting on, assuming he's real, is an old one from last year before Easter. This was when Oaks was sending the 5 death threats before that Easter. And I just, again, busted him for the 5 death threats this year. And finally, the Armageddon trigger has begun. And so, yes, this is what we're talking about. To save your lives. Because that's what a real seer, prophet, revelator, translator does. Is try to save your lives. Not keep secrets from you and have you pull yourself up by your own spiritual witness feelings bootstraps. Ooh, can you guess if this is it? Pray and get the right feeling. But don't become a Benjamin. But this is what the church does. They won't tell you specific prophecies. They will never dare to give you a date for those prophecies. It's their official church statement. We deny the gifts and powers of the mantle titles that we claim we hold. Our official statement. Do Mormons not understand this? Does it not click in your brain? The bar is low for joining this church, I tell you. And so the video was First Presidency redoes 2025 Easter message threatens to steal, murder, and destroy Mormons. That was Oaks. The First Presidency Easter message in which they quoted from John chapter 10. And yep, on the Oaks leak, I put regularly now that John chapter 10 verses 1 and 10 from that message. I pay attention to the living prophets of Jesus. Why don't Mormons? God. So yeah, this guy never had a chance to see any of my new stuff. That was from a year ago. Dear God. So, here's what he says. I am sent this earth to build up the Tur, Zoin, and Jerusalem, if the whole world is in a bad way, both in the east, if you want to join us. It sounds robotic. Not just my accent. This can't be a typing error on your little cell phone, because they pop up words. There's no such word as Tur and Zoin. That was a flipping of letters there. And that wouldn't be a thing. And so this has to be AI. It is not an intelligence. And so, yeah, you can see the Mormonism in them from the Hinckley video on the playlist. Because we came from the planet Kolob. We were the chosen ones in the pre-existence, not like those fence sitters. So if you're born before 1978, any of you who are black-skinned, that means you're still not one of the chosen ones in the premortal council. And the missionaries will tell you, as they told James when they were here on my channel, I don't know what happened to them. They just up and vanished. Dear God. Communicate, people. If something's going on in your life, I want to know. I'm worried about you, especially Jasmine. She was... God. Why people do what they do and not explain, I don't know. They run away and hide, like a Mormon. They shun you in the church if they disapprove of you. And you'll never know what you did wrong. They'll never tell you. You got shunned. And so it's not really an extortion threat because you have no idea what you've done wrong. They just shunned you. Oh, we don't shun in my ward, Travis. And then he shuns me. He tells all of the leaders in the bishopric meeting to stay away from me. Because church headquarters said so. Yep. See, it wasn't for finding out that Joseph Smith and Hiram were assassinated by orders of Brigham Young and Heber C. Kimball. John Taylor and Willard Richards were the only two people remaining in the room when Joseph and Hiram were shot. And so, yeah, there was no way I was coming back. Doing church history, finally, because I'd been spending all my time finding out how true Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon are with translation of Paleo, Hebrew, and Egyptian. Linguistic science. Scientific method. And so, yeah, applying that to church history, oh, that was the church's worst nightmare. They struggled to keep up in altering the narratives on Wikipedia. And got desperate on numerous times. And now AI can't even keep up with me. Christians are now explaining Mormon scriptures. Christians are smarter than Mormons on their own scriptures. They can read and understand what they read. And now you know why the church doesn't have you read your scriptures but pray to get the right feeling. Because if you read, you ain't gonna join this church. It's that simple. But yeah, this is just another situation of Mormons who think they're going to do it on their own. And I've been warning all these years about this. That when the day comes, if we are not in Zion, if the church does not fall, transfer authority to me so that I can organize an exodus and organize Zion for you. This is what's going to happen, among many other things that are going to happen. You're going to have people rising up saying, I'm the leader of the church. I was sent by Jesus from Kolob in the premortal council of heaven to lead you. Follow me and you will never go hungry again. Be prepared. And there would be stake presidents, maybe members of the 70 or Area 70 more likely, bishops, temple ordinance workers, Mormons who've been in high callings as a high priest, elders, and nutcases who are all going to try to get a group to follow them when it all hits the fan. And it hit the fan. And this is what we get to continue to talk about. Part 2. Because I've already checked the news. Trump came out with another video. So there's some more things that I need to warn you about for tomorrow, starting tomorrow. But before we get to that, I get to rub it in your faces again. I told you so. I'm on a roll this year. Oaks' BYU talk that, I called. Everyday sense, inspiration for my video content that then Oaks spoke of at his BYU talk. The Strengthening Church Members Committee failed to notify Oaks in the Tuesday meetings. They didn't have one because of and so they didn't get to tell him until the next week about my video on his talk with his great-granddaughter and calling Gilbert to be the chosen one to fill the 12. Mormons have no clue what a real seer, prophet, revelator, and translator is. And so it infuriates them especially when I laugh. And I mock you like Jesus, Joseph Smith, Elijah. Because they don't know their scriptures. They don't get it. They don't want to get it. They've got their faith bubbles. They know it's true. They know nothing. And so I come along and boom, Mormons are confounded. And they're angry and they run away. And they want nothing to do with me, even though I'm trying to save their lives. They will never get it. They will rather die because Oaks commanded it. With the Kool-Aid to join the spaceship behind the comet with Jesus on it. You're supposed to learn from history. You're not learning from history. So, but yeah, the reason why now, in retrospect, Gilbert was chosen to be preserved starting tomorrow. He now knows the total asset value of the church. He's still in the lower six, so it's unclear as to how much Oaks is going to expose the overall plot to him. Because the lower six typically are left out of the big plan. That's a reward for making the top six. Got to get insider information on this. So yes, in 2020's test run, the lower three were the ones who contracted COVID. And Holland. Too much porn, I guess. Holland was great for those gems. Sad to see him go. He had so much more to tell us. They took down the church's website and replaced it because of my video. So only the Deseret News has the original. Oh my God. But I got his video. I got his clip. They try to hide it, but they are no match for me. Because if you're the enemy and you're lying and covering things up and deceiving people and committing crimes to silence me, you're in the wrong. Duh! The church doesn't get this, and therefore Mormons don't get it. You are wrong. You're in the wrong when you attack, threaten, abuse, hate other people. Because again, I know Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon are true through the scientific method. And yet, even ex-foe nevermos argue with me. You can't argue against me either. You will lose. You just did doubt promotion rather than faith promotion. Mingled with science. So, needle pulling thread. Yeah. The $1 million signing bonus? That's why. It was a reward for being loyal to the church. It's also a compromise so that he can't back out now. And it's the exclusive Noah's Ark, shall we say, when the prophets flee. They get to flee. Mormons stay and get slaughtered. All missionaries around the world must be called home immediately. It was prophesied by Heber C. Kimball. Test. Done the videos multiple times. 10.2K videos all these 10 years. And this church is not going to do it. Nelson was forced to do it in 2020's test run. Hoax got leaked, remember? I let Idaho Chick in on the secret name of Sister Jessica. The sacred name of the goddess who whistle-blewed on the church, not knowing it. It's a 19-year-old sister missionary. Leaking oaks. That the church caused Armageddon. Just nobody was believing me. I did the real church history research on that to find out. Oh, Danites. Oh, Thomas B. Marsh. Oh, The Way to Perfection by Joseph Fielding Smith Sr. And here I am in this apartment. And then they murdered my mommy to make sure that I would not have a place to live. This is how evil the church is. Murder is my red line. The church ain't true. There's no way in hell I'm coming back. Murder is a disqualifier instantly, in case you haven't read your scriptures on this. That and denying the gifts and powers of seer, prophet, revelator, and translator to become a son of perdition. Deny the Spirit? Hello? It's real easy to do. Right, Mormons? So, missionaries must be called home. Mormons must be gathered to the real Zion to be saved. Church won't do this. And this is horrifying for me. Knowing the church is evil, doing my videos, exposing this church, warning members and those who are not that this church is going to murder you. I already saw the file when I was going through the file last week or the other week in my archives of the missionaries who died since 2020. And then I did the video earlier this week or last week or the week before about the laws of the federal government in Utah. That to assault a person is not the same as if the assault leads to their death. That's another. Because Desiree Turner always pisses me off and triggers me that the state of Utah dropped the ball on her prosecution of the assassins. What, because they're Mormon boys? If you can't follow the Mormon scriptures and the Mormon founder, you're not a Mormon. But this church loves to follow the example of the Antichrists and the secret combinations. So yes, Helaman chapter 6, 22 to 24. I'm the whistleblower in 24. I know my scriptures. Benjamin doesn't. Chad Daybell doesn't. Denver Snuffer doesn't. Brian David Mitchell doesn't. These nutcases don't know their scriptures, and yet they were all able to fool a lot of people, except for Brian David Mitchell. A lot of people. We're talking thousands. And ex-foes. There are popular ex-foes. They don't know Mormonism either. But just like these others who claim to be leaders, these ex-foes who do YouTube channels are claiming to be leaders, experts on Mormonism, doing the videos, getting popular for them. Alyssa Grenfeld, she's the goddess of ex-foes. She doesn't know Mormonism. John DeLynn doesn't know Mormonism. Jeremy Reynolds doesn't know Mormonism. Thinker of Thoughts doesn't know Mormonism. Little Nemo doesn't know Mormonism. Exmo Lex doesn't know Mormonism. And I kept saying in my videos, as long as they talk about how their experiences caused them to leave the church and how reading the scriptures they saw that the prophets weren't following them, great. I fully support you. But when you start lying about church history because the church said it, I gotta put my foot down. When you say that the Book of Mormon isn't true and that Joseph Smith is an adulterer, a child rapist, I gotta put my foot down. You didn't study. I did. I've got the documents. You don't. I can't get through because YouTube, by orders of the church, won't let me get through. I warned of what will happen with this worst case scenario. And Benjamin did it again to demonstrate. There will be utter destruction for not listening to me. And so, yeah, I did a picture in the video I did today about my frustration. Forgot to put the Fox News picture in. I think it was Fox News. It could have been MS Now or something. But forgot to put it in. I think it was Fox. Because they showed a whole map of all of the bombing sites that we've been doing in Iran. I forgot to put it in. So, oh, that's not the one. Here we go. 1, I warn in advance. 2, no one heeds. 3, I told you so. 4, you get angry. 5. I warn again. ... To go back to 1. The cycle over these 10 years. And so, yeah, I could easily do a video of how nobody listens to me. Nobody runs the test. By their fruits. A prophet? Oh, well, what about seer? Oh, prophet, there's prophet. So just for prophet, not seer, revelator, or translator, huh? But I've been predicting the future too. My #1 video was the prediction of the future with the calendar dates and clock times of the prediction of the future. That's why the church shut me down. It was my knowledge of the Spirit from Revelation chapter 12 in 2017, which I caught on to in 2018 or 2016 in December. On my own, I figured it out, because it wasn't until after Monson's death that I looked in the footnotes trying to figure out what's going on. Where is verse 5? It should be in line, because all of these are in chronological order. We just had Monson for verse 4. So God's sitting on his throne. God's sitting on his throne. And I checked, it's Ophiuchus, God, father of Jupiter, Saturn. Saturn and Ophiuchus. Let me read it to you. (1A) Joseph Smith translation, Revelation chapter 12, verses 1 to 17. Parentheses, appendix. Note the change sequence of verses in the JST. Could have had a fruit V8 rather than the vegetable one. Yeah. I don't like it anyway because it has high fructose corn syrup rather than pure 100%. But I can't do that because it would be worse without sugar. But you can put real sugar in there, not high fructose corn syrup. They chose the other way. Nobody runs the test. Mormons don't know how to run the test. They just keep repeating over and over and over and over again the lies and the deceptions and the diversions away from running the test right there in word in the scriptures. So, let's finish her up. Call it a day. So yeah, Gilbert, keep it in context for what's about to happen tomorrow. The Persian waterways shutting down all traffic. Oil tankers ain't getting out, ain't coming in. Guess what this means now? And I heard none of the news stations talk about it. I heard them talk about gas prices gonna skyrocket. Yeah. And so those of you who require transportation to get to work, that's gonna suck for you. Because Because I remember back in the 70s when the gas crisis hit. I remember sitting in the station wagon, car parked, in a long line out in Michigan. I remember. I remember my mom talking to my dad one week. We need to go get the cars in line, get gas. But in this particular case, the gas is going to skyrocket rather than be low in quantity. But I remember those days too, when Bush declared war, gas prices skyrocketed. The other Bush declared war. I'm the decider, Dad. Mission accomplished. 1,000 points of light, New World Order. We're not about to make that same mistake twice. Oops, Oaks, you did. And you're calling it a test run, huh? Alright, whatever. Sister Jessica is a hero. I tried to make her a hero. Thousands of Mormons know she's a hero. And it's just not clicking in their brain. It's just not clicking. Because I found the way to perfection. I understand what Oaks really means. I know Thomas B. Marsh's affidavit. I know what Oaks's leak means. Mormons who believe Jesus is real do not know what Oaks means. They don't put it with Joseph Smith saying they, from verse 1, are coming to burn in the latter days, and frame and blame Jesus as Christian. Mormons don't know what that means. I do, because of Thomas B. Marsh, the Danites' own recorded journal entries. Almost 40 years later, put in the Joseph Smith papers. And thus the forged documents are exposed. And Joseph Fielding Smith Sr.'s The Way to Perfection. I know the church lies. Expo never mows, don't even know either. I don't know what to do, guys. Your lives are about to start in the process of getting destroyed. We're headed for the actual crisis, not the test runs. This is no longer a test run. Last year was a failure. So what happened in 2020 and 2025 and is about to happen tomorrow? Give you a hint, you probably don't invest in the stock market. Exactly. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the number one investor in all the stock markets worldwide, are again going to be tanking the stock market because they're causing this. And so, this is the next stage. Cause a global financial crisis. it starts with the multi-billionaire gambling casino, the stock market. And then they cry and go, oh no, our gambling money is gone. We've got to raise our prices. And thus, gas prices go up. And that will lead to other prices going up. It doesn't have to. We've got enough supply. It's their excuse to tank the economy and profit on it. This is what's called war profiteering. It's gonna be massive this time around. And the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints will yet again make off like bandits. In 2020, Ensign Peak Advisors got $6 billion. I didn't find out what Ensign Peak Advisors got for 2025, but actually we do. The Deseret News, yeah. Let me find that. Made the pretty picture with it. We do know. We do. But it was just the fourth quarter, and they tell us the third quarter also. So they didn't tell us the first two quarters. Where are you? There you are. There you are. Yeah, I remember that now. Do 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 do. It's now worth over $56 billion at the fourth quarter reporting, and they obtained $5.6 billion in the third quarter or the fourth quarter. And then third quarter was $2.1 billion, for the third and fourth quarters being $7.7 billion. So $1.7 billion more than in 2020 for just the third and fourth quarters. They have got dozens of sources of revenue, all of which have their own LLC company and offshore bank account. In case you're not listening to the whistleblower in 2019, and Canadian news and Australian news. So 2025 was record-breaking. It was massive. $4 trillion in the Chinese stock market, $4 trillion in the American market. And who's the major stockholder? The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Wait till tomorrow. A global economic crash. You know, like the one I predicted to the state government in my petition for a redress of grievances, that would happen. And what did they do? They called me a terrorist, turned my petition into a weapon of mass destruction, sealed the case so that nobody would know, erased my history, all of my comments on the Deseret News gone, and had me disappeared for 6 years of my life. And oh, look, Greece went bankrupt. And I warned in advance And that's what the church did to cover it all up and hide it. Because the church was a part of that crisis too. I just didn't know about the Council for National Policy. I mean the Adam-on-Diamond Council. Not yet. Not yet. And so, yep, here goes the church again. Here comes the rain. Da, 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 da. Rainy days and Mondays. Ooh. But it's Sunday night. It's a-raining again. My heart is running, losing a friend. It's raining again. So we can do it, because most people aren't going to watch it until at least tomorrow anyway. If at all. Strengthening Church Members Committee, mostly. And I have been surprised at also how almost every single day there's a sign in the heavens with its accompanying thing on the earth. Dear God. And so yes, by doing my videos, I'm also trying to teach you about the Spirit and how to do it yourself. And I'm not hearing anybody commenting about how they're trying to figure it out. Run the test. It's not just me, it's Joseph Smith. Revelation chapter 12 in the Joseph Smith translation, verses 1 and 7. Seer, prophet, revelator, translator. It's all right there for you. He's trying to teach Mormons. So, doesn't want to leave you stranded and guessing with spiritual witness feelings to speculate on. That is irresponsible of a church leader. So, yeah, Gilbert said, service in Zion requires being provided for. Sucks to be the rest of us. Because the stock market's going to crash, gas prices are going to go up, other prices are going to go up. We still don't have ICE funded, TSA funded. We're now on high alert in America because Iran is chanting death to America. Even in America, where they are immigrants, they claim that they are being persecuted for being a part of their abusive terrorist religion that is raping them as women. And so we give them asylum here in America to be immigrants. Come to America, you're now free in America. And the women still wear the symbol of the religious sexual abuse by the patriarchal authority. Go to work for the church. Still Islam. As Mormon now too. Mormons are Islam. Islam is Mormons. They're the same. It's just Islam gets 72 child bride virgins instead of 10 for Mormons. They made a pamphlet. So true. And so these people who have been given freedom in America, and in this particular case, instead of Gazans or Palestinians, now it's Iranians. And again, in America, where they are free from those abusers that they claim to be fleeing from, to live in America, they are now revealing their true identity. They were sleeper cells. They weren't being abused. They were sent here on church service missions for this very moment. Again. So Trump is going to let them go for the moment until they can cause a 9/11 event. And then Trump will go, see, you should have funded ICE, Antifa, who hate America, and then martial law, locking you up at Walmarts, martial law backwards. And it all starts a civil war. It's coming. It's coming. Because what are you going to do? Church is still going to demand you pay tithing first. If you don't pay tithing, you're out. You'll be activated by the Strengthening Church Members Committee. Section 119. This is all the church's plot. Will you be loyal to death by paying the church who caused all of the problems you will now be facing even further? You know, Pharaoh making your life harder after Moses sued the church. The man like Moses, verse 91, the Jewish Christ, run the test. I've done the videos, plenty for you to judge me by. Even be judgy if you want. Mormons, Mormons, Mormons. So, yeah, I need to do a bring the missionaries home hoax, and him saying no. Gonna have to do that one now too. So I got pictures to make. Bring missionaries home. Pick. Gather. Yes to Zion. Pick. Could redo. I don't need to. It's still good. Here comes the rain. Here it comes. Comes. Might have to pay attention to it because the last rain we had to put a towel at the window there. It was drenched the next morning. But I saved my apartment. There are just some things that a leader must be doing as the shepherd over the sheep, and Oaks is failing again. You know, again, same as before when I was teasing Oaks about being on his deathbed. He still is. Or Nelson on his deathbed. Is that they can still transfer authority to me. They run the church without the president being able to do anything. It never stopped them before. Mormons aren't going to care. And yet, They won't do anything for Mormons. And I don't think I've connected it with the one I've been doing the video repeatedly of. It's the Articles of Incorporation by Heber J. Grant in 1923 as to why they're neglecting you now. Because it's the same Articles of Incorporation, they just keep changing the name of it. 1923. Yeah, there it is. In 1940. And that's why it's always the president of the 12 that takes over the church upon the death of the president. It's because of the 1940 Article of Incorporation edition. Article 4th. And they do have in their Articles of Incorporation the way to transfer it all to me. They can do it. It's right there. They just refuse to do it. They are all in on being evil, causing all of this, and getting rewarded for it. We're so brilliant. Mormons will think it's for Jesus. So, this corporation for a non-existent church shut down by the federal government in 1887. It's a legal document. This is not a religion. The Dominator exposed it in his lawsuit against the church in 2008. Girly man. They didn't come back. Hasta la vista. And so this is similar to a shell company. It's a corporation over a shell company. And so their title of president is for the company. But the apostles, dear God, no board of directors are called apostles. And the CFO is never called the presiding bishop. And yet, hilarious. And so, he puts that the members have no power, no authority in the corporation. Church, non-existent. They're being led astray. And tithing is the way they make their money. He had $1,500,000 at the time of this incorporation from tithing. That's a criminal operation. This was done in secret back then. They didn't have the Freedom of Information Act. And so only the notary and the Mormons working in the government offices to stamp it and approve it knew about it. That's it. That's all. Mormons are for the purpose of giving money to the corporation. Chattel. You have no say in this church. And so, yeah, Gilbert was just a nobody in the church. But because of his loyalty of abuse, he was rewarded to become part of the corporate board for what's about to happen right now. The 5 death threats of Oaks. And I was planning on doing that video for you guys. I think that was on this paper. Yeah. Because I started to do a countdown with the Saturday morning video. And as I was saving it, or before I saved it, I had checked the news and saw that Trump had started Armageddon. So that was the one and only one day for the countdown. And I don't need to make a pretty picture of it to repeat in every single video until it happens, like last year that I did. Because it happened immediately upon calling it. That's how awesome I am this year. So, this is why they do not protect you. This is why they will not tell you the truth. It's all a corporate fraud, a criminal fraud. And that's why I did the video showing the laws to lock them up for the rest of their eternity, which will probably be a few days for most of them. So, missionaries got to come home, Mormons need to be gathered, and anybody else who wants to live the one law of agency that's in the United States Constitution as well. And so, there's a civil war about to break out in Iran. And so despite certain news stations that saying that Trump will work with a new government, and the new government is meeting and they should have a president or leader by Tuesday or Wednesday. No. They need to deal with the internal fighting that's going on. It's not over with. Just because you killed off the leader doesn't mean they have a new government that's being established. Because you still have Iran military fighting against the United States and against Israel and military bases of the U.S. in Qatar, UAE, Saudi Arabia, etc. They haven't stopped fighting. And so with a new government, they're not going to stop fighting. They were loyal to the leader. And he's dead now. Iran finally confessed he's dead. And so this new government is a coup, technically. Trump will support it, but they're not done yet. Everything is not all well in Iran. We're not done yet. And so yes, this is not going to be ending anytime soon. They've been telling us it's going to take weeks. So good luck. You thought the price of eggs was horrendous. The egg of great price. I remember those days. Made a pretty picture. Nobody appreciated it. So, still going to be up late tonight. Great Googling movie. So, I think I got everything here. But, yeah. We've got a national security threat to also be aware of, along with the rising prices, and suffering, and death. Looming civil war and world wars, global economic crashes. And this also could be the trigger for what I warned you about in the morning video. That China, Iran, or Russia, North Korea are waiting to strike. China wants Taiwan and Australia. North Korea wants South Korea. Putin wants Europe. And so with a global economy collapsing, with war in Iran, with Pakistan and Afghanistan going at it again, Trump can stop that war again too. We're still not done in Gaza, Lebanon, Yemen, Syria. Yeah, be on the lookout for them to start their wars. Trump won't get in the way. He'll be preoccupied with trying to distract from the Epstein files. To protect the church. Oh, dear God. So hang on, guys. Salt Lake City Airport. Oh my God. It's gonna get bad. I'm gonna be woken up in the middle of the night to explosions. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that the seer was ignored.